Oh.
Good afternoon from San Francisco, show number 785. It is cold, rainy, windy here in the Bay Area. We've got an atmospheric river or one of these, what do they call it, some kind of a bomb?
Yeah, a rain bomb.
It's not a rain bomb, they call it something croutonic, but it's just clickbait. Christopher Gillingham is saying fair winds from Leamington, Pedro foiling Sailor, Clayton, Allen, Embley, Stingray up in Seattle, Ed Worley down in SoCal where it's also a blustery day. Although I just heard from Meg, Julia, the prodigal daughter is landed and their flight was right here on time.
Wow.
So
good.
Maybe a few minutes late. We are live from Studio B. As usual, my co-host Julia Vedekint is here in good, colorful shape.
Yes.
And Tom here on Friday the 22nd of November. Welcome to everybody from around the world. Thank you for joining us. Also, thank you to Sharon Green for her great job. Wasn't she great, Julia?
It was so terrific.
She was fabulous. Thanks, Sharon. Had a good long 2-hour show with her on, showing us all her photos, her favorite images from her long and storied career. She is offering her ultimate sailing calendar, which is the annual affair. She's been doing this for decades, and you can get 15% off of your entire order right now, whether you get her puzzle or her bag or her... I'm just doing the promo because I love her to death, and we've been good friends for 40 years. SAIL15 is the code. Use the code SAIL15 and get 15% off your entire order from her calendar. And ultimate sailing this holiday season, you can shop at her online shop, ultimatesailing.com. Julia?
Sir.
What else? Any hot tips before we get going here?
It's very wet.
It is, but you just said we got some kind of a flood warning on your phone just before we went to air.
Yeah, we got a flash flood warning for the city of San Francisco.
You guys here in San Francisco, you should grow up in Michigan where you get real weather. You get snowstorms. You get tornadoes. Tornadic activity, as they now call it. Come on, a little bit of rain. Everybody complains 1 minute about not having any rain.
And the next minute.
And the next minute, we got flash floods. Well, you may have I hope nobody has a problem up in the hills where it may be flash flooding. Julia, what are we celebrating today besides flash floods?
Well, it's hard to tell.
It's the theme of our show. Can you tell?
Black and white. Teams. Sail GP.
Sail GP. There are the skippers of the 12 teams. They're up from 10 up to 12 now. The French aren't sailing, but we'll tell you all about Sail GP, the race for the Rolex Sail. Rolex now, they got a new title partner in Rolex, probably our favorite partner sponsor in the sport. The Rolex Sail GP Championship begins this weekend in Dubai. The new nations hit the starting line for the first time at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, presented by P&O Marinas. The event will be the first under the league's new title partnership, the start of the Rolex Sail GP Championship. That, Julia, is what we are celebrating. And as always, we're celebrating the FOSI, especially those who are patrons via patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. And we appreciate all of you very much indeed. Is Red Bull Italy, Julia?
Yes.
Are
Oh,
they the
yes.
best team? That's the question. I have them in my cover slide, the promo slide that we used last night,
Yep.
with Jimmy Spithill's new team. Jimmy, of course, had been the CEO and skipper helm driver, drives me nuts, of Team USA until halfway through last season when he turned it over to Taylor Canfield. And Taylor didn't have a very good year after that, but maybe he will. Perhaps he will have a better year. I'm tipping these guys, we'll get into it in due course, but I'm tipping Jimmy Spithill's new squad as probably the best new team and maybe the best team overall. We'll see if they can come into their own, Julia.
Yes. Be very interesting.
It will be very interesting indeed. Let's see what else is going on. But before we get into yacht racing, let's celebrate a sailor who passed away on this day, the 22nd of November, 1963. And Julia, you know, of course, who we're talking about. Here's your first and only hint.
Oh, yes.
That is JFK, President John F. Kennedy, on Manitou, a yacht which he tracked down when he became president. The Coast Guard actually had it. It had been donated to the Coast Guard, had been built for folks in the Great Lakes area, been raced, in fact, back in the 30s. It was the Sparkman and Stevens, Manitou was. And it was raced in the Great Lakes. And it was designed to win the Chicago Mac, and the first one it sailed in, it did. And then I think it also won I think also the Port Huron Mac and any number of other races. The S&S, what was it, 60-something, 50-something?
It looks right at home.
Manitou. Nice, beautiful shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
Manitou is a 62-foot, there's the dimension, 62-foot long, performance cruising yacht designed and built for racing on the Great Lakes and specifically to win the Chicago Mac. It notably served as a presidential yacht for United States President John F. Kennedy and was known as the, quote, floating White House.
Yes.
Manitou was built in 1937 at the M&M Davis and Sons Shipyard in Solomons Island, Maryland. It was design number 99 of the famous naval architecture firm Sparkman and Stevens, which still exists today, mostly as a brokerage, who built, of course, as you all know, many America's Cup winners. There is the tragic events of this day, 1963, in Dallas, Texas.
Remember that all too well.
61 years ago today, John F. Kennedy was assassinated by Lee Harvey Oswald while riding in that's the end of the open-top motorcade era.
Yes.
61 years ago today on the 22nd of November, 1963, Julia.
Yes, I say, remember it well.
I was just turning 10 years old, so it's one of the first things that I remember well in life. It was a sad, sad occasion. The nation came to
A halt.
As we all watched another sailor and member of the New York Yacht Club, and in later life became quite a good friend. At that time, when I'm 10 years old, I had no idea that he would become a great friend. Of course, I'm talking about Walter, the late great Walter Cronkite, CBS News's anchorman, lo those many years ago. And for many years, I was called the most trusted man in America, in part of how he handled
and he did
this incident when he came on the air, and this was before they really had the facility to do live TV, and he picked up a mic. He was at his typewriter with his cup of coffee and went live, people running around on the ticker tapes behind him, and held the nation together.
Indeed.
Over that long weekend, the tragic weekend. The 22nd of November and beyond, 1963, when President Kennedy was assassinated.
I was hosting 6,000 Stanford alumni on campus for a conference.
That must have put an end to that. You must have watched television all weekend.
Well,
Must not have done much conferring.
well, I mean, it was.
Did you?
Yes. It was. I mean, there was a reunion. So, and there were stuff going on, and they didn't have anything else to do. I mean, they're from all over the world, so they don't go home. And,
Well, they watch television.
but there wasn't.
Let's talk about Manitou. I just to end on something positive rather than me having my birthday ruined and you having your reunion ruined. This is a 2020 shot of Manitou racing in Cannes in France. And in latter days, the boat has been sold to a syndicate in France, and it's being raced in the classic yacht races.
Oh, it is the same one?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Oh.
And what a great thing. You talk about boats that last, unlike the current crop of America's Cup boats and a few others. But it is being sailed it was sold to 4 joint owners. I believe they still have it, at least according to Wikipedia and others. It underwent an extensive refit in 2011, and she was then shipped to the Med, and she's been raced extensively and made available for charter. I'd love to charter that boat.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be great fun out of French ports. The S&S 60-something foot Manitou, which was the presidential yacht of John F. Kennedy. Okay, let's have a check-in now on the Vendée Globe, shall we? As you all know, it started, 17 days ago, 16, 17 days ago on Sunday the 10th. What is today, Julia? Today's the bloody 22nd, so 12 days ago, right? Day 13 it is of the Vendée Globe, the 10th edition, around the world alone. They've crossed the equator and are working their way down toward Ted Ryman in Cape Town. They're going to leave him to port, leave him on the left-hand side and the Cape of Good Hope, and then head over across the Southern Ocean towards Australia and New Zealand. But before we get into all that, here's the weather report from earlier today as the boats are making their way. The fleet is, some of them, across the equator and headed south.
And so Friday's weather, the leaders in the southeasterly trades has had east-southeasterly breeze just now, and this is the leaders here. We'll see as they come down towards the Brazilian coast, the wind is swinging around, so it's lifting them as they go, and that could play a little bit in terms of the strategy, whether to be in the west or the east. So that's the situation just now. There's the boats coming out of the doldrums up here, and as I say, coming into the southeasterly trades. Then looking at the animation, we can see Jean Le Camera, the boat in the furthest to the east. We're trying to hook into this low pressure system, which is down here. You can just see it generating. Now they should be down there on Sunday. We're seeing the cutoff maybe between 12th, 10th and 13th, something like that. And here is the low pressure building here. And the key thing is to get in front of it, and the flatter water and the faster speeds are possible then. So that is the kind of date with this low pressure that we're looking at, and it's going to be fascinating to watch. And then a fast passage down towards South Africa.
Vendée Live. Our friend Andy, I didn't put the lower third up, Andy Robertson from Great Britain and now in Scotland. International, well, both, sailing journo of considerable repute. Thank you, Andy, for that report. And let's look forward to more from Andy. Here's where they are. You can see the equator there. They're the kind of the light line right across there. So a good bit of the fleet is now south of the equator. And the leader now is the esteemed Charlie Dallon, who many of us thought would be the winner of this yacht race. Mm-hmm. And he is now in the lead. The cream is rising, Julia, to the top of the what?
Fleet.
The fleet, thank you. You saved me. And there he is. And the report from Yachts and Yachting.
Patch to deal with Charlie Darling in the lead, there is only 100 nautical miles separating first to 12th place at the moment, and this light patch could actually compress the fleet again. Looking at the tracker at 1800 CET on Friday the 22nd of November, we can see there Charlie Darling in the lead, currently only making 13.7 knots. We can see there is lighter breeze up ahead of them to the south, whereas behind there's a bit more breeze. If we move forward on the forecast, we can see the wind is filling in from the north, and this is what could lead to the compression. Once again, moving to 24 hours ahead, we can see that breeze has filled in more. And this could keep the pack tight, even though Charlie Darlin's average speeds with his Massif Santé Provence yacht being so fast. Looking 48 hours ahead, we can see that low pressure system really forming what initially came from that ridge that we talked about in this morning's update. And that could provide some serious winds for them to contend with as they make their way from the west to the east across to the Cape of Good Hope. The rankings show Charlie Darlin has now opened up a 22 nautical mile over Thomas Rouillon, and the top 12 are still all within 100 nautical miles of the leader, which gives them a lot of hope, especially if Charlie Darlin, Thomas Rouillon and Sam Goodchild run into slightly lighter winds ahead.
Slightly lighter winds ahead? Well, they will as they're going past the doldrums. Now, there is the list as they currently stand. That's the leaderboard. That's the rankings, as they're calling them in Sail G. I wish we'd all come up and use the same word, but it doesn't matter, I guess. Charlie Darlin was on Tuesday. We told you he was 5th. He's moved up to 1st. Thomas Rouillon on Tuesday was in 4th. Sam Goodchild was in 1st, and now he slipped to 3rd. Sebastian Simon was 3rd. He's now slipped to 4th. And Jan Richomme was 7th, and he's moved up to 5th. And you will ask, well, what about Jean Lecomte, for example, who was in the hunt? He has dropped to 19th. Remember, he'd gone in along the coast. Remember that, Julia?
I thought that was such a good move.
Well, it turned out, and a lot of people predicted, that he would fall into a bad wind direction. He'd have to fight the headwinds coming back off the coast because he went inside of, what's the big island there? The Verde Islands, or the Islas Verdes. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
That's what it is. And speaking of Boris Herrmann, you see him there in the lower third. He's in 14th. He's not really been in the hunt yet, but he's doing good videos. And here's the first one we have run since the start of Boris.
Good morning, everyone. This is how it looks on the southern hemisphere. We're now in the South Spirit, South Hemisphere. This is we just crossed the equator. 0. Just here crossing the 0 line. Morning. So, welcome to the South Hemisphere. Let's see if this brings us luck this year, this winter. We will hopefully be here until next year. Ciao. Bye-bye. Have a good day.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Nothing.
Okay. Boris Herrmann is so much fun to follow every day, Stingray is saying. I agree. Mm-hmm. Many French could use a good slapping just for fun, if nothing else. Håkan Håkansson. I think he's up here in the Bay Area enjoying our fine weather, the windy, cold, gray, rainy downpour that we've got. Well, good for us. Lots of Cape Verde Islands. Thank you, Gordon Smith. Thank you very much, my professor of geography. Heading for the Cape. Yeah, lots of good comments. There was one comment I want to go up here and look at this comment way up above. It's off the chart right now, but there was a comment about Marilyn Monroe from Graham Sweeney. Did you see that, Julia? Graham is saying, didn't Marilyn Monroe own that yacht? I hear she had a Manitou.
Oh.
Give him a shake of the finger. Come on. That was fabulous. Huh?
Yes.
That was fabulous. Okay, speaking of fabulous, we got John Emmett up next here doing the coaching corner for us as always. He's still in Spain enjoying the lovely weather there. In fact, he talks about it a little bit in this walkabout he's doing at the Eurosaf Academy in Spain. John Emmett.
Hi, Tom, Julia and all the Fozy. I'm here at the USAF Sailing Academy again and having really good time. This is just like one of the world's best kept secrets. I know you like the walk and the talk and I can show you around some of the facilities, but to be honest, I hadn't actually heard of this centre really before coming here. Hello, Mar Manor, I think I've said that right. It's a very famous venue and I know Ben Ainsley used that venue a lot. It's almost like an inland sea, so it's an incredibly large body of water. There is a little opening that lets it out, but it's probably no more than 3-4 metres deep anywhere, and that flat water is just perfect for foiling. So maybe if I'm somewhere over the winter, this would be a very, very good place to learn to foil. I'm very jealous of the setup here. Originally, it was purely for sailing. There's a big hangar to my left, which is so big that you can just wheel your boats in with the masts up. It's got all the accommodation, all the catering. So I have my breakfast, lunch, could have dinner here. How often I go out into town and have a little beer and bond with the coaches. It's a 6-day course, and I know a lot of time when the wind isn't good, training sessions tend to be cancelled, which I always think is a great shame. We've just had a weekend of youth training cancelled in Weymouth because, well, it is going to be blowing over 50 knots. So if you remember the previous reel I did, now is a very, very good time to be tying your boat down well, because you know that the weather conditions can change very, very quickly. But this is a perfect place to be over the winter. Probably should send Lily this video. I think she will like anything above the 20-degree mark. But yeah, so it's 6 days of the high performance coaching conference. You can see the sun is mainly out and shining every single day. And what you can't see is it's an absolutely cracking breeze. So I'm very jealous actually of the Ilka sailors who are going sailing now. I think probably the main thing is when the weather is warmer and when the water temperature is warmer, you can just do more sailing in a given day, because it's actually quite tiring when you're sailing in that very hot conditions. The body gets very drained, or the very cold conditions, again, the body can get very, very drained. So we try and avoid doing that. Not to mention, obviously, the available daylight. So the longer the daylight, the more opportunity you have to do training, because you can do a morning session, and then after your morning session, you have a big break, fully recovered, and then you do your afternoon session. But yeah, the coaching clinic, I say it's over 6 days, 6 days of chatting about all the stuff that we need to help our sailors perform at their best, to help coaches perform at their very best, and for those people in leadership roles to lead in the best way they possibly can. So when you have a weekend that's not suitable for sailing, there's lots and lots you can do. It's not just a case, no sailing, no benefit. The things we can talk about, the knowledge that we can gain from talking to other experts. We have an Olympic rules advisor here. We have the PRO from the Olympics giving her input from the other side of the table. We have a professional media person from Eurilka, all trying to, just help us put together the best teams we have. So yeah, you definitely don't cancel weekends unless you really have to. And actually, for most boats, perhaps toppers and Ilkas are the exception here, there's always some boat work you can be doing. I remember in the 49er, whenever I had some extra time, I would make up some extra spinnaker sheets or extra halyards, just making the most of that rainy day, as it were. Not that raining is ever a good reason not to sail. The other beautiful thing here we have at the USAF Academy is it's shared with lots of other sports. So those multi-sport facilities have a huge advantage that the cost is shared, they can always be filled, and it just means that the centre is always going to be economically viable. But what have I learned the most from here? Well, I think for most people, whatever the federation or sailing club situation, the grass often looks greener. But across the sport, we often have the very same problems, whether it's educating sailors and coaches and leaders for rules, whether it's running regattas, whether it's how we promote ourselves in terms of media and gaining sponsorship. There's a lot of issues which are the same. So by all working together, we can get the best possible outcomes. And that is what makes sailing such a beautiful sport. Now, everything happens a little bit late in Spain, so I might not make the show, but comments always welcome, and I will try and check any comments out in replay. So have a great time, and hopefully I'll see you soon. If not, really looking forward to the Sail GP.
The comments, people love John's reports, and then they all are making funny as hell comments about it. Stingray saying it's too shady, only one branch. John's on here, so he must have had an early dinner.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Emmett. Appreciate that very much indeed. And just for the avoidance of doubt, this is where John is, on the coast, the southeast coast of Spain, below Alicante in the direction of Marbella and Gibraltar. And it's I can attest, having lived there just up the coast in Valencia, it's a beautiful part of the world. And I had no idea there was such an academy there either, Julie. It's more than the Sailing Academy. Eurosaf, which is the European Sailing Federation, and they took that name after ISAF, when ISAF before it was World Sailing. So they called it, they have a European Sailing Federation, which is all the countries in Europe, and they meet once a year and maybe more often than that to coordinate their efforts on the continent. Good thing to do.
Yeah.
And it's as I say, it's a lovely part of the world, and that is a sports academy. Some of you said it looked a little prison-like, but I think that's to keep people out, not keep people in. They're in that academy, which is used for more, as John said, and I've seen in doing a little research, more than just sailing. There in Murcia is the bigger area in Spain. John Emmett, get to the front of the fleet. John Emmett Sailing, his regular reportage for us, which we deeply appreciate. Shall we move ahead to Sail GP, Julia?
Great idea.
Are you ready for our main topic of the day? Season 5 of Sail GP is upon us. It's a bit of a deal, and with this new sponsorship, Russell is calling it a new era. He's calling it transformational, and here is a brief video. And you see now they've got a combined Rolex Sail GP. That's the new logo. So Rolex is well and truly the title partner for this event. And
And congratulations to them for that.
Well, and to Russell and Larry.
Yes.
Bravo Zulu. It's going to be I think it's great for the sport. We love Rolex, as you all know here. We don't get any money from them. I even almost paid, almost 40 years ago, I paid almost retail value, but they gave me a bit of a break, but I was then chairman of the Rolex Yachtsman of the Year function. But bravo Zulu to Russell. Some real news coming out of this, because it looks like a long-term partnership. And yeah, clearly Rolex did the video, Clayton Embley is saying. And this was the photo from yesterday released with the announcement of this title partnership, marking a new era for the Global Racing Championship. And indeed, bravo Zulu to Russell and Rolex today, meaning yesterday. Sail GP is proud to announce a new era. Thank you, Julie. And its long-term partnership with Rolex, welcoming the Swiss watchmaker on board as the first title partner for the Global Racing Championship. I thought Oracle was a title partner for a while, but maybe not. The transformative agreement between the two brands, both synonymous with achievement, innovation, and performance, demonstrates a strategic shift to elevate the sport's premier global championship. Hear that?
Yes.
The sport's premier global championship, Julia.
Yes.
That's what they're calling themselves, with Rolex at its heart. The expanded agreement will usher in the beginning of the Rolex Sail GP Championship, which is, of course, in Dubai this weekend. The news builds on an enormously successful founding partnership that began in 2019. Rolex has been the official timepiece. They've been with Russell all along. So again, Bravo Zulu to them. And there's a little more verbiage here as part of the agreement. This is an excerpt, obviously, from a much longer press release. As part of the agreement, Rolex will also become title partner for the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, unfolding over 2 action-packed days of racing March 15, 16, 20, 25. The Swiss watchmaker will also continue as official timepiece of SailGP through the end, get this, through the end of season 14, 9 seasons hence.
Oh.
So they're already talking about 9 more seasons together.
Wow.
Supporting the league's long-term growth and expansion of its fan base. Additionally, Rolex will further develop high-quality content in partnership with SailGP that takes fans behind the scenes to inspire and instigate positive change.
Woo.
Okay, so I think it's a bit of a deal, Julia.
Yes.
I do indeed. Now, catching you up on what is going on in SailGP today. They had the press conference, and tomorrow's race day 1, and then Sunday's race day 2. They have their traditional format of 5 fleet races, followed by then the final 3 yachts going forward. They've changed scoring a little bit, but we don't need to get into those details quite yet. But here's another Yachts and Yachting and Sail-World joint production here, video, previewing SailGP Dubai.
Elsewhere in sailing, the F50s will be back out on the water at the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix, racing on Saturday and Sunday with 11 boats on the water. There are 2 new teams, that's Italy and Brazil. There is a 12th team, France, but they're sitting out this one as a new F50 is being rapidly built, which will be ready for Auckland.
Yeah, it's great to be back in SailGP. Feels like it's been too long, but I'm very excited to get out on the water and get racing. And I know that the level's got much higher, but got a very experienced team that have been pushing me on. So just keen to get racing now.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the level. And I see Jimmy in the crowd and Ben in the crowd, and they've left me as the old guy now. And I've got all the young, new generation coming through who I'm trying to hold back, and I feel like I'm the old guy trying to stop it coming through. I know they're coming through. I know they're going to overtake us, but I've just got to hold on with our squad for as long as we can. But the level's getting higher. Foiling, the new foiling generation is a thing. These guys have grown up with foiling boats, sailing foiling boats in their teens and 20s. I didn't sort of step into it until my 30s. So it's a new generation coming through, and you see how talented they are. You see how quickly they can make decisions. They pick up things faster than we did back when we were learning. So it's impressive to see. And honestly, I want to be successful. I want the Australian team to be successful, but I'm also a fan watching this new generation come through and being really impressed by what they're able to do.
We'll be continuing to bring you the latest news from the Vendée Globe, SailGP and hundreds of other sailing events around the world on sailworld.com and yachtsandyachting.com. Please do subscribe to our channel, and many thanks for watching.
Yeah, I commend it to you. I like their YouTube channel, and I've used a couple of their videos and probably use some more. So Bravo Zulu to them, but also good reportage on both, for our use today at least, on both the Vendée Globe and, as you saw, as a bit of a preview for what's going on in Dubai. They had the press conference. They are 12 hours ahead of us. And I was texting with Richard Gladwell last night. Poor old Richard. He's back at it again, staying up all night to cover this stuff in New Zealand.
Yes.
And then sleeping in. Hopefully he gets some sleep. But they're 12 hours ahead of us. So this press conference, which was at 10 in the morning local time this morning, was 10 at night, our time last night, just as I was going to bed.
Yeah.
So I didn't watch it, but I've looked at videos of it this morning when I was preparing the show and was texting with Richard about, they only put 6 of the skippers of the 12 on the stage, which was a little weird.
Why?
I don't know. That was a good question, but they put 6 of the 12, mispronounced, they called her Martini. Martina Grail, they called her Martini. I mean, excuse me. Maybe that's her favorite cocktail.
Maybe it's a nickname.
No, it's not. It's Martina. I think the guy is an Anglo. He's a Kiwi who was hosting it. Apparently the Spanish language is a challenge for him.
Yes.
But let's carry on here. They did have this press conference. Tom Slingsby was kind of he's the star of the show. And let me go back to that headline. Slingsby said Australia and New Zealand losing a core athlete cannot be underestimated. So that's been the talk of the town. That's been the talk really of the preseason. All this, what in Formula One and other sports we call the silly season, when there's a lot of sailors, crew, teammates moving from one team to another. And that, of course, is what has been going on, especially over the past 2, 3, 4 weeks post-America's Cup. Speaking of which, Kyle Langford, who I've done a cup or two with, who was the trimmer, the wing trimmer for Tom Slingsby, has left. He got hired away. And that is, I think, a key grab by the Italian team. Kyle going to the Italians, to what is now Jimmy's calling Red Bull Italy is the name of his team. And Jim Spithill is the CEO. They're crossing paths in their new uniforms, or at least new uniform for Kyle there on the left, whose back we're looking at. Mm-hmm. And that is Tom Slingsby, of course, smiling. And they're good mates, they're good friends, and I'm sure they always will be. And Tom's, as you said, he's a class act. Who said that? Somebody said he's a class act, and I agree with you. I'm not going to go find that comment. But nice stuff going on. And Jimmy, with his new team.
Ed Worley.
Ed Worley said, yeah, he's a class act. And he is. Most of these guys are. I mean, let's give credit where credit is due. And Jimmy's team, and nice branding. It's mostly white. Very colorful there with the rest of the Red Bull. Look at that livery. Yeah. Mostly white. I think classy looking. I think they're going to be good, Julia.
Yes, well, you've been with them for a while.
I'm a big fan of Jimmy's. I think now that he's taken himself off the boat, especially, and is going to run the team, I think he will be a huge help to that team, including and especially to their skipper, who has had one hell of a year. Let's take a look here at this guy, who was one of the reasons I ranked Jimmy and the Red Bull Italy so high. It's been a busy 3 years for Ruggero Tita. You remember he is the two-time Olympic gold medalist in the catamaran class. So he's in the cats now again in Sail GP. And he, with Caterina Bonti, set their sights on repeating the achievement in the 2024 Olympics after winning gold in 2020/2021, delayed by COVID. And they did. In fact, they were crowned Olympic champions for the second time here earlier this year. Mm-hmm. Alongside the Olympic campaign, Tita, this guy, was head down preparing for the 37th America's Cup with Italy's entry, Luna Rossa Prada Pirelli, which saw him listed on the helmsman roster. Remember, he helmed in Jeddah. Yes. When they had that pre-regatta there, he was one of the two co-helms in Jeddah. For Italy. So he had for Italy, and he got a lot of time on the helm. And then he went on to win the Youth America's Cup. And the guy's the real deal. So alongside that campaign, he was doing the America's Cup. He split his summer between Barcelona for the Cup and Marseille for the Olympics. As if that wasn't enough, Tita has been working hard all the while on a third project, the launch with Jimmy of the Red Bull Italy Sail GP team. So bravo Zulu to them. And I think this guy is the best of the up-and-coming young sailors. It's hard to discount the strength of Pete Burling and Blair Tuke and the rest of their team. They didn't win last year, but they had of all the regattas in Sail GP last year, the Kiwis had the best record. But then the Spanish came through, as you probably remember, right at the end and took the winner-take-all finals, and that was pretty amazing as well. So you got a new team now in Brazil here on the left. This is Mubadala, I think it's properly pronounced, Team Brazil. And there on the right is the rebranded Team USA. I called it on the show the other day, Julia, I called it Tiffany green or blue.
Yeah,
and
Tiffany. Yeah, you did.
and everybody said, that's not Tiffany green or blue. That's Statue of Liberty green.
Oh, no, it's not.
That's what they say, the Statue of Liberty, and they're her bronze-like patina. Is that the right word?
Yes.
I didn't go to Stanford. Is that the right word?
Oh, how would I know?
But I like the U.S. livery. It certainly is distinctive. They also have a branding with Red Bull, but this Mubadala, it's Mubadala is a lot easier. It's like Kamala. It's a lot easier than Kamala. Mubadala. The accent is on the second syllable.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. Mubadala. Repeat after me. Mubadala. Okay. But they are a great team as well. They've got really good sailors, and they've got the aforementioned Martina, don't call me Martini, Martina Grail on the helm of that famously good sailing family, Julie, with whom you're quite familiar, and your late great husband. And she is the first female helm for any Sail GP team.
She's earned it.
And she has earned it. I mean, I think some others have too, but she is on the wheel. Yeah. She's the driver, Julia.
Yay!
She's the driver for Brazil.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to struggle a little bit, not because of her necessarily, but because they are a new team. But we shall see. They've also poached a team member from Team New Zealand. So
that's good.
We'll see. But then you've got this guy. And don't count out the Spanish, because 2024, according to Tip and Shaft, who did a great interview with him today, that email newsletter called Tip and Shaft, which I commend to you every time I excerpt from it, comes out on Fridays. It's free, comes out of France, mostly about big boat sailing, offshore racing, but it both in French and in English, by the way, but they also cover things like, Sail GP. Mm-hmm. And they did a great article and interview with Diego Botín and Florian Trittel. 2024 was a fantastic year for the Spaniards. 3 weeks after winning Sail GP Season 4 in San Francisco, they were crowned, the two of them, the 49er Olympic champions in Marseille. Then they were elected World Sailor of the Year, Diego Botín was, in early November, before the start of the new Sail GP season this weekend in Dubai. Tip and Shaft talked with Diego, age 30, skipper of Spain's Sail GP team. And I excerpt from that terrific interview. Sail GP champion, Olympic gold medal, Sailor of the Year. Would you have imagined such an exceptional year? I didn't think so many good things were going to happen. This is again with Diego Botín. But the possibility was always there, and we have always worked very hard with Flo, meaning Florian Trittel, to give us the best chance on every competition. Things seemed to come along together in July for us, definitely with Sail GP, and then the games in the same month. It is just amazing. Mm-hmm. And then a long paragraph here. What was the most difficult to win, Sail GP or Olympic gold? That's a good question, he said. It was very different. Probably in Sail GP, we were not the favorites. We were more like the underdogs. We knew that we could make it into the final, and at the end of the day, it's a 3-boat final race where the winner takes all. So we knew that if we got into the final, we would have our chances, but it was super close. It was a big surprise, frankly. We didn't start well that weekend in San Francisco during the finals. We were fighting for the third spot in the final with the French. They were doing really well, and suddenly they had that issue in race 4, and we were inside the final. And from then on, we just put the pedal to the metal full on, and it turned out good for us. That was, to say the least. That was super amazing. And then the games, the Olympics, it's been a dream for a while. I think we were one of the favorite teams. We always said with Flo when we started campaigning together for Paris that our aim was to take the gold medal, and we were going to do everything we could to get it. But it turned out to be a very difficult week in Marseille. The conditions were super hard, to say the least. We suffered a lot, but we managed to stay consistent, which was the key. And at the end, we took gold. It was fantastic. The games are more a long-term goal for me, putting so much work into something and having also lost so much during the way and definitely achieving it. The feeling is amazing. It's hardly comparable. It's hardly comparable with Sail GP. I think it sounds to me, Julia, like he thinks the Sail GP achievement was the bigger deal. Of course, there's more money in it. He won $1 million,
Yeah.
right? Cash prize. Was that what it was last year? $1 million? So nice stuff. Bravo Zulu. But wait, there's more. You have won gold medal, Sail GP. What is your next goal? America's Cup? I would love to be involved at some point in the America's Cup, but right now I have no space in my head for it. We still have to decide, Flo and I, if we want to go for another Olympic campaign for LA. For 2028, obviously. We probably will do some 49er events next year and see how our motivation is, because we know how much work needs to be put into it to be able to opt for a medal. We've been in the Olympic world for a long time, so we don't have to rush. We prefer to do 2 or 3 years full on than 4 years. Putting the gas too early and getting burned, I think he means burned out. So we'll take a conscious decision. Our main priority now is to really create a strong basis with Sail GP. That means make the team financially self-sustainable and keep improving. Last season was a massive achievement for us, but you have to remind that we came from last position in the previous season. Having said that, I also think that we have a massive room for improvement. We didn't reach our top level. It keeps us super excited. What fascinates me as a sailor is to be better every day, as John Emmett keeps reminding us. That's exactly the sport. Right, Julia?
Yes, and I've been a fan of theirs all the time.
You have been. You called it that they were going to win.
I did.
Bravo Zulu. And bravo Zulu to them. They're obviously a terrific team, and I think they are also a contender for this season. By the way, as I said in the promo last night, we're going to ask all of you Fozy in a bit of an informal Fozy poll. Who do you think is going to win Dubai this weekend, and who do you think is going to win season 5 this year? Now, here's another longer preview from the regular television commentators. Yes, they are back. And here's a 12-minute video of them talking about the 3 or 4 most important things they see going into season 5.
Biggest season yet in Sail GP history as we get ready for the Rolex Sail GP Championship. I'm Todd Harris, joined by Stevie Morrison and Emily Nagel. Guys, before we get to it, 3 big questions, and let's start off with this crazy season that's coming up. Not only the transfer window, but the talent that's moved from team to team, the technology, a little bit of everything. Stevie, what stands out for you?
I'm just looking forward to all these new venues we're going to go to. I mean, we're here in Dubai. What a fantastic place to set things off and running. But then we're going to head to Auckland. From a personal level, it's pretty cool that mid-season we're going to come back to the UK. We're going to be racing down in Portsmouth. So, I mean, there's just some great venues, isn't there, Em?
Great venues, and I'm loving the new teams. Loads of new transfers, like loads of chops and changes, which I think is really going to level out the playing field. We're going to have new winners. It just adds that little bit of excitement, a bit of a restart. I think a lot to come this season.
What everyone's been talking about, though, in the offseason has been the transfer. The athletes going from boat to boat. Stevie, some very familiar faces and some very new places.
Yeah, I mean, what strikes you? 3 times winners of the Sail GP, you know, is the Australian team, and Kyle Langford, the wing trimmer, he's gone. Now, first thing I want to know, and what I really want to know about all these transfers, so hopefully Russell's listening, someone must know how much money are these guys going for? You know, the professionalism in the league, it is their job that, you know, they're out there to earn money. And I guess Kyle, you know, people like that, they've got to think of their family, they've got to think of what's good for their career. But you know, you've got to pay the bills as well at the end of the day. And so I think Kyle it just seems like a massive loss to that Australian team. And the caveat to that is, what a huge statement move by Jimmy Spithill coming in, leading the Red Bull Italy team. I mean, it's just amazing. You get Kyle Langford. I do think, you know, interesting. I mean, we might ask, well, not might, we will. Emily will talk to us about the Brazilian team. There's no doubt about that, because that's another big transfer. But the difference, I think, for the Australian one is they brought in Chris Draper Very, very experienced. He was with Great Britain in the first season. He was then with the Japanese team who came so close to winning season 2. And then he kind of went and was involved with the Canadian team. Super experienced. I think he could actually add to that Australian team. Light wind specialist. We're going to get a bit of a glimpse of that this weekend in Dubai. It'll be interesting to see.
Emily, let's talk about those 2 new teams. You've got Red Bull Italy and you've got Mubadala Brazil coming in. How much does this change the dynamic of SailGP going from 10 to 12 teams now?
Well, it's definitely going to mix things up on the starting line. 12 boats all jostling for the same point on the line. It's going to be quite the fight. The race courses obviously haven't gotten any bigger, and it really builds up the importance of those skills, which is why I think we are seeing so many transfers. There isn't the time to get relaxed into that flight control position. Yes, the teams have had a bit of training, but it's really important that they're bringing in experienced sailors from the get-go. So obviously with the Brazilians, we've seen probably one of the most high-profile transfers, poaching Andy Maloney from the Kiwi team, disrupting that team, which I think is a really strong move because it allows Martini to really get to grips with the foiling aspect. She's done a lot of high-speed sailing. She's done a little bit of everything from 49er FX campaign to sailing around the world in the Volvo Ocean Race. So she's got a lot of experience, but when it comes to high-speed foiling catamarans, she is a newbie. So by bringing in Andy, getting that stable platform from the beginning really gives her that brain space to, take a step back, look around, think about things like the time and distance to the line. That's so important with 12 boats there. And what they've all said with Andy is he's just so confident in the stability of the platform that he's then able to have kind of that bandwidth for other jobs. So he's contributing to the comms on the boat of where everyone else is on the race course, what's going on. And that allows the team to really develop a much stronger comms network, bringing in Rich Meso as strategist, but really taking on that role to a new level and leading the boat a little more.
2 names you're going to hear a lot this season, Grail and Tita, and they are coming in with some pretty nice CVs.
Yeah, I mean, both of them have got a couple of Olympic gold medals, so that's a solid starting point. And, I think they're going to bring that experience, but I do think they're going to have a lot to learn. It's a very different game where, you compress down into a little stadium. It's a tight race course. Not perhaps got the space to use that big picture instincts that we think of from conventional sailing. However, everything they've done, they've won.
Yeah.
They're going to come in, they're going to be winning races. I'm absolutely sure of that. They'll be winning races from probably this first event. Whether both of them will win a race, I don't know, but I'm confident they will be winning races. It's going to be finding the consistency. It's going to be kind of adapting to the nuance of stadium boundary-led racing. And ultimately, and this whole game is all about who's going to learn the quickest. So it's going to be who's out there ready to sponge in that information from the Oracle Cloud, get the data, learn from the data. It's all very well having 1 million data points. That's fantastic. But the data's only good as the question you ask it, and they've got to know what's the right question. And I think that's going to be the interesting thing. Both of them so much experience in the coach room. Jimmy Spittle, Philip Presti, we saw them sat together. What a coaching team that is. And then the Brazilians, I saw they had Paul Goodison sat in the coaching room with them. So there's so much knowledge kind of in there for them to help learn. But it's going to be now, how quickly can we learn?
And what's been brilliant about both of these teams is, unlike previous years when we've had new teams come in, both the Italians and Brazilians have come in with no ego. The interviews we've had with them so far on shore, they both know how green they are. Like both Tita and Marchinio, they're like, we have loads to learn. We're nervous about that many boats on the line. And I think that outlook really sets you up to learn the most you can. Well, big guns blazing, we're going to win straight away. We've seen that a lot previously, and it doesn't always go to plan. So I think this new approach, it's interesting.
There's some new names that are familiar to us, but they're new places. And you've got Dylan Fletcher coming back from HGBR. You've got Giles Scott going to North Star Canada. And then you've got some names that aren't sailing anymore, but they'll definitely have their fingerprint on this, namely Jimmy Spithill. What is his new role? What is it going to mean for Red Bull Italy?
I don't know. I mean, he's just such a knowledge base, and I don't know him particularly well personally, but he seems a great leader of a team, a real sort of figurehead. He's going to inspire them. He's going to instill that confidence as well as all the knowledge he brings. I mean, first off, Red Bull Italy. I mean, that's a pretty good backer to have on your side to start things off as a sporting brand and you know, confidence building in itself. But I think he's going to bring that knowledge. Him and Philippe Presti have worked together for so long over the years, you know, and yeah, we have heard about these high profile ones. I think an interesting one where we talk about that ego and coming in with high expectations. Perhaps the new US team did that mid-season. Hans Henken.
Yeah.
He's come back, bronze medal at the Olympics this summer. He's come back in flight control. Probably not going to be one of the big banner names in terms of changes on the team lineup, but I wonder what Hans can bring to the team, because I feel these next sort of 4 or 5 events crucial for the US SailGP team.
So from people, let's go to technology, and obviously the biggest technological advancement, Emily, has got to be the T-foils coming in at the second event in Auckland. France gets back into the mix as well, so that is going to be almost like starting a whole new season again once we get to Auckland in January.
Yeah, the T-foils are going to be a huge leveler across the field. I've done a bit of research, spoken to a few people, really gone into this side of it, because it is a really exciting development. You know, these L foils that we've been using have been around for a while. The system hasn't necessarily been perfect. It's been a struggle for some flight controllers to get to grips with. I know some of the better flight controllers are a little upset that there's going to be new foils that they've got to learn. They lose that advantage that they've got on some of the less experienced flight controllers. But the technology side is really interesting. So these foils are actually going to be twice as heavy because they're made out of titanium, but they've got a bigger surface area. So we should see some pretty decent kind of takeoff speeds, so to speak. But on top of that, the control system has changed. So all the flight controllers are now going to be able to control the cant of the foils, and that's how far inboard and outboard the foil moves. Previously with the L foils, they can move up and down, and then they can adjust the rake, so how much lift that foil is providing. But by adding that third dimension, it just adds that little bit more of difficulty for the flight controller, and that's all about the righting moment. So the further outboard the foil goes, the more righting moment there is, the more power, essentially. But there is a trade-off. If you go too far outboard, the tip of the T-foil pierces the surface of the water. And if that happens on these foils, suck the water right down the foil, boat comes crashing down. So
That sounds like a them problem.
All
Tom.
I'm hearing is speed. All I'm hearing is speed, and I think everyone wants that. Stevie, before we get out of here, I want to ask you this. Who has, in your mind, unfinished business? Obviously, Spain won last year in season 4. They look good. They came from behind. But who do you think? I mean, is it Quentin de la Pierre? Is it the Danes? Who is it you think has unfinished business in this 5th season?
I'm going to give you 2 teams.
Okay.
I think ultimately every team other than the Spanish have got unfinished business, there's no doubt about that. I think Quentin de la Pierre and the French, they're not here. They have managed to secure the funding to make sure, you know, they're not here out of choice. I would add that as well. They are good to go. The boat's not quite ready. We were worried we weren't going to have 12 boats till much later in the season. So, I mean, it's fantastic news for the championship that actually they're going to be back there in Auckland. So very much to make it clear, it is their choice that they're not here at this event. But oh my God, they've been so close. And that final mark of the final fleet race in San Francisco where they had the incident that, you know, we'll still never quite know. I'm not sure if anyone's been brave enough to ask Quentin exactly what happened at that final turning mark, but that was the season there. I mean, they could have so easily won last season, and they didn't. So France, without doubt. And then for me, USA. The US SailGP team, Taylor Canfield, I mean, they came in fantastic result of that first event in Abu Dhabi, and then they've really struggled. You know, and I think the good news for them is Dubai is a really, really good venue for them. It's a tactical, tight race course. Now, Taylor's phenomenal in that kind of environment. Tight, boat-on-boat interactions is absolutely right in Taylor's wheelhouse. He's going to love that. However, they did have a poor end to last season. There's no denying that. They've made all the right moves. They've had the most training time since season 4. They've put the most hours in. They have got Hans Henken back in, that bit of experience, that Olympic medal winning pedigree. They've made a lot of good moves, but for me, they really, really struggled at the end of last season. Now they've got to show us, put the money where their mouth is.
Well, it's going to be fantastic, and the big winner is going to be us and the viewers at home. Remember, it is going to be a long season. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. From November to November, we're going to race around the world, 5 different continents, kicking off here with the Rolex SailGP Championships. Of course, this is the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. We look forward to seeing you, and we hope you enjoy the action. So for Emily Nagle and Stevie Morrison, I'm Todd Harris. We will see you at stop number 1. Get ready. This is going to be an amazing season.
Julia, I think they're a lot better.
Yes,
Huh?
they are.
And you see the camel coat here. We're going to do the big reveal, I'll take away the PIP, and it's Meg,
Yay!
who's arrived from San Diego. Hi, Meg. And your husband, Aaron, of what, 1 year? When's your anniversary?
October 20th.
So it's just been a year and a month.
That's right.
Congratulations. Welcome to Studio B. Give a shout out to Clark Chapin and everybody else that you know, the Fozy.
What's going on with the weather?
The weather,
You should just come down to San Diego.
it's a welcome weather for you,
We
Meg.
got a flash flood warning.
Indeed.
So I hope everyone's okay. Stay safe, stay dry, and
Sail safe.
sail safe. Have fun. Stay dry.
Stay dry. Welcome, Meg. We'll catch up. Meg's up here for the weekend with her husband, Aaron, and delighted to have her here, needless to say. Aussies in Black. Gosh, there's all sorts of comments on here. Yeah, yo, hi, Meg. Gordon Smith, Mark Holland, and everybody saying hi to Meg. Fog Machine is on here as well. Thank you, everybody. Julia, I think those three are getting better. Lisa Darmanin is the best, I think, of those three. She doesn't talk too fast.
Or too much.
Or too much. Push your mic up. Speaking of talking, it's gotten when Meg came over and gave you a hug. I think
yes.
Push your mic down a bit, but it's refreshing. I think the three of them are getting better. It was a nice piece, and they covered, with no notes. No doubt they did a bit of a rehearsal and had some bullet points, but I thought pretty good coverage.
Yes.
For what's going on. So bravo Zulu to them. This SailGP, three big questions. Which, okay. I don't know why Lisa said there was this T-foil was going to be a leveler. Do any of you have an idea why that's going to be a leveler? I think I'm not sure that's what she really meant, but anyway.
I think she did because they're more used to the T-foil shape.
Well, maybe, but that's the point, I guess. You're right, is that maybe now they're all going to be back on a more even footing because they're dealing with new technology that none of them has a lot of experience, with which a lot don't have experience.
Yes.
Oh, Julia.
Oh, what?
I'm trying not to be a grammarian here. Now, here's another point. You see these guys, they're still arguably the best, the Kiwis. They had the best record last season. Beautiful shot, by the way. I don't know who took that. It came from SailGP, but a fabulous shot. And the press release, there's a lot of stuff that popped up in the last 24 hours. Finally, I was talking with Richard, in fact, last night. Where's all the media? Where's all the action? And they finally got it out the door in the last 24 hours, last 12 hours even.
Yeah.
Because when I went to bed last night, I was wondering whether we're going to have much content for this show. But this is one of the articles that's up on their website about New Zealand winning the event in Dubai last year by narrowly beating Tommy Spithill's Australian team. And remember, Phil Robertson was driving Canada at that point.
Right.
Finished third in the season overall, losing out to Spain and Australia in the winner-take-all final here in SF. The team dropped the season overall on points, topped the season overall on points, proving itself as the most consistent across the 13 events. So
that turns out to be very important with this fleet somehow.
Well, I think it's bragging rights.
Yeah.
But they're still the best until somebody shows me otherwise. They're still the best sailors in the world. They've won the America's Cup now for the third time. Three-peat. Pete Burling, Blair Tuke, and co.
Yep.
So bravo Zulu to them. Now, they also had a practice race. And here was the result of the practice race. It was won by your team, Julia.
Oh, good.
By the Spanish. And the Canadians, we're going to talk about the Canadians because Giles Scott is now driving the Canadian team. Mm-hmm. Who would have thought?
Yeah.
He won the second race. And then the old reliable, as you heard him call himself, the senior citizen or whatever he used to describe himself now that Sir Ben and Jimmy Spithill are out of the running.
Yeah.
Tommy Slingsby won the third race, so don't count them out.
Never.
Never, ever. Let's take a look at some of these other teams and the livery. Speaking of Canada, this is their new livery. They've got a new sponsor called Juvenescus, What? Juvenescence. Juvenescence, which is some kind of it's a makeup or some kind of a fake.
Making you younger.
You know it?
No,
You think that's a good name.
that's what the name says.
It does. You're probably right about that, as usual. You're right about most things, Julia. It's because you went to Stanford.
Oh,
I love to. Giles Scott is the new GBR helm. He's taken the Giles Scott from GBR is the new Canadian helm. And that opens the slot on the wheel on the British team for Dylan Fletcher, who you all know replaced Giles Scott, to the surprise of a lot of us, on the yacht during the British yacht during the America's Cup.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think they would have been better off if Ben had taken himself off the boat and had Giles and Dylan on the yacht and Ben run the team, or his wife running the team. I'm not quite sure who's running the team, Georgie, but nonetheless, Giles is on the new Canadian helm, and he won, Julia, one of the practice races.
Oh, good.
Now, speaking of the British team, they are the only team of which I'm aware that issued a video today. Have a look.
Wow.
Great day here. First day practice racing on Friday, and looking forward to the weekend ahead. Certainly had some good moments, had some not so good moments, but feels like the learning curve is steep and pulling nicely through the fleet, which is important, but lots to work on. So the conditions here in Dubai, generally it's very flat water, it's quite hot, and it's on the bottom end of the wind. So we've had the AP wing up but sailing 4 up. So I think it looks like similar conditions for the rest of the weekend. Yeah, buzzing to be back on the 50, and to be honest, absolutely loved racing 11 boats today, so absolutely frothing.
So you can't count them out either. The Brits are going to be better, probably even than they were when last year when they had Giles on the helm. Dylan is coming off of good. Okay, they didn't win the cup, but
I keep thinking about the width of the court.
Of the course,
Yeah.
especially now with 12 teams on it. Only 11 here in Dubai because the French are not sailing. Again, they've explained this. Sorry to repeat. The French have opted, they've probably been told that they had no choice. They're waiting for a brand new boat, which is in production, and they will catch up with that boat. There's no Sail GP regatta next month, but the one after that in January, and that's in Auckland. And they get their new boat there, and that's where there will be 12 teams. In texting back and forth with Richard Gladwell, there's a lot of excitement in New Zealand about it, but he makes the point, and I think he's right, that this event in Auckland is really more than Dubai, is going to be really the kickoff. We'll see, get everybody settled in, get the new appendages, the levelers.
Yes.
The leveling appendages. That's fine. Okay, now what about the U.S. team? We have to wrap up here with something about the U.S. team. So there it is. Is that green or blue?
Aqua.
Aqua? Now see, on this monitor, it's really hard. Colors and color on monitors is really hard. See, it looks blue.
That's blue.
It looks Tiffany blue, but in all the images I've seen,
no, it's green.
It looks like green. They're calling it, Rick Bannerow says, yes, it's green. Statue of Liberty green is what the team is calling it. There's Taylor Canfield back for his, second season. And Hans Henken there, we'll go back to our bluish image here, but that's more this television screen over here. I've got to replace this screen, Julie. If we get some more people sending us a few bucks a month, I'll replace this screen.
Why don't we suggest it?
Maybe we should at the end of the show. More color accurate. But there's Hans Henken back from his bronze medal performance in the Olympics for our country on the 49er and the men's skiff. But bravo Zulu to him, and I hope that Jamie Wilmot, who was a late addition last year there in the middle, not in the middle, we'll see if now that they've had some time together where was the training camp, in Bermuda? Didn't they all have some time in Bermuda? And they've had some time in Dubai as well. So the question is, what about Taylor Canfield's USA Sail GP team? Are they going to be okay? Here is Lisa Darmanin doing an interview.
Oh, good.
Today after the press conference.
Great.
With Taylor Canfield.
Welcome to the Tech Walk for the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix presented by P&O Marinas. Now, I'm not actually at the tech site, I'm at the Adrenaline Lounge. The press conference has just wrapped up and so much has happened in the off season, so let's try chat to some of the athletes to hear how they're feeling ahead of the weekend's racing. Let's go. Okay, it's a bit chaotic, so you're just going to have to bear with me for this one, but we're going to sneak to the back and see if we can find anyone. All right, I've spotted Dylan Fletcher return to, oh, he's already chatting. Here we go, Taylor. Hey, how you going?
Good, how are you?
Excited for the season to start?
Yeah, really excited. It's good to be back in Dubai, and yeah, forecast is looking good, so we're excited to get racing again. It's been a long break.
You've been busy in the off season though. You've been training in Bermuda, been training here. You guys are ready.
Yeah, definitely feeling more ready than getting thrown into it mid-season last season. So yeah, but between Bermuda and here, I think we've had 16 days or something on the water, which is huge, as everyone knows in this league. And yeah, the skill level is rising still. So we're happy to see the gains, but a lot more to come.
And you got Hans back. He's gone and won a bronze medal, and he's back on the flight control. That's exciting.
Yeah, Hans is an unbelievable athlete and unbelievable sailor, and yeah, and actually has applied to be an astronaut, so he's a smart guy. But yeah, we're excited to have him, and hopefully can use some of those those physics and astronaut skills to keep the boat in the air.
He knows how to fly and he knows how to sail, so that's great. Anyway, good luck this weekend. Excited to watch it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Taylor. All right.
Okay, she went on to interview other people in her. It was technically the tech walkabout. She walks through the technical. What do they call it? We'd call it the dinghy park, but the technical facility, meaning where they keep the boats overnight. So now we got a big debate raging, Julia, about the colors. Some say it's copper green. That's apparently what the team is calling it. I called it bronze green. What is verdigris?
Verdigris is the green that happens when copper
it has a patina.
Has a patina.
Okay. Well, we've used patina now twice in the same show. Verdigris is a poisonous copper salt. Okay, there's J. Frederick Bland, one of the smartest people
indeed.
That we have on this show, that forms a green or bluish green patina on copper and copper alloys such as brass and bronze when exposed to air. It can also be produced artificially. Here are some facts about how would I pronounce it? Is this Latin? Verdigris?
Yeah.
Verdigris. History. Verdigris was used as a pigment in manuscript illumination, hand coloring maps, and prints from the Middle Ages until the 19th century. Painters valued it for its rare luminescent green color. Now, can't you get sick from copper? I guess people wear copper bracelets, don't they?
Yeah.
Don't people wear... The late great Ding Schoonmaker, who was a dear friend.
Yes.
Some people believe that it helped reduce arthritis,
something like that.
Something
right.
like that, and you see then they have that green patina.
Yes.
Underneath the copper on their skin, it's leaching into your skin. That's how you say. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
Because I was thinking of all the bad jewelry that you get that does
it gives you the
same thing.
Hawkinson is saying the entire skyline of Copenhagen is verdigris. Is that how you say verdigris? Verdigris? Verdigris?
I think so.
Verdigris. And what else? There was another.
Eau de Nil.
What's Eau de Nil? I saw that comment from Gordon. What is Eau de Nil? That sounds like a fragrance, not a color.
No, it's...
And Claire Harrington saying, clearly, Tom, you don't do a lot of shopping at Tiffany's. Claire, you're just coming on, and she just landed, by the way. She's just back from Amsterdam, and we're going to do a bit about the Mets trade show and the world sailing photo that has been selected. And she's just landed. She texted me, I don't know, a bit ago. So she's saying now she's calling it Tiffany blue-green or whatever that color is, when everyone else is saying, no, that's wrong. It's not Tiffany blue-green, whatever it is. Teal, maybe. I like J. Frederick Bland's verdigris. Is that how you say it? Verdigris?
Yeah.
Verdigris?
So. Yeah.
I had a sob that color, Alan Long is saying.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, there was another Olympic pool blue. Alan Long has said, maybe Fog Machine's got it. Coral. It's copper. I mean, let's face it. It is it's Statue of Liberty copper. That's what they say. That's what the team is saying.
Fine.
What's wrong with that?
Because copper is...
Okay, we can't agree on color. How are we going to agree on who's going to win this season? So we got a Fosey poll. Several of you already put in, but put in again so Clark or whoever's going to keep a... is that loud enough? So Clark can maybe keep a list for us. Who will win in Dubai? We got a new airport code for you, DXB. Those of you, I've flown through that airport a bunch of times, so I knew that without having to look it up.
And that is Dubai?
And that's the Dubai International, that huge airport. Very, very nice airport, by the way. Who's going to win in Dubai, and who's going to win season 5? Just put in two team names, if you would, please, in the comments. In the chat. First one, use comma separators if you want.
Yeah.
Hakan, let's not do the hoping. Come on, let's do, who do you think's going to win? He thinks Spain is going to win. That's the season. Who's going to win Dubai first, and then who's going to win the season? We have a horse named Patina, Alan Long says. My 10-year-old named her.
Yeah, here's Gordon Smith is O'Donnell is, or in English, Niles. Snot.
Spain. Okay, there's the first one. Fritz Mueller down in Miami says Spain. Gordon says Denmark. Okay, he's being true to at least his adopted home country. Denmark. France is going to win overall. Wow. Canada, Italy, Jeff thinks. Well, Greg Phillips says Spain and Australia. He's being true to his Australian country. Graham Sweeney says GBR. He is a big homie, that guy, like he was during the America's Cup. You got to give him credit. J. Frederick Bland, USA. Really? You think so, Jim? Jim. No one calls him Jim. J. Frederick. Italy and Spain is Mary Jude's choice. Copper is brown or tan. The patina on the Statue of Liberty is a corrosion byproduct, Clark Chapin.
That's true.
Who are you going to pick? Spain and Italy, Mark Holland. Now that guy's smart.
Yes.
He's been very good about making predictions. There's Stuart Childerley. Hello, Stuart. France and Australia. You might think it's real, but it's not. Andy Cox in Bermuda saying New Zealand and Italy. Okay. Claire Harrington, Vice Commodore Harrington, Italy and Australia.
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I think we can go on and on here, but Julie, I think the point is doing this poll is how competitive.
Yes.
If you'd done this poll, maybe we did, I don't remember. If you'd done this poll a year ago before the first regatta, people would have said Slingsby. He'd won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
He was tough. He looked good. He was in the middle of his America's Cup campaign with New York Yacht Club's American Magic, which is probably one of the reasons, because Claire Harrington adores him, thinks he's just a terrific guy and was a great team member of New York Yacht Club's American Magic.
He was.
He was, indeed. The U.S. Sail GP team already looks seasick, Graham Sweeney is saying. It's not as bad as color as it seems. Okay, enough of all that.
Yes.
Well, I don't know if Clark or somebody else is able to come up with a consensus on all that, but I think, Julia, the point is it's going to be very close.
Yes.
Very hotly contested, and most people think it's going to be España. Pete Carrizo, who's a Portuguese.
Yeah, I think
cheering for Spain.
I'm going with Mark Holland, Spain and Italy.
You are?
Yeah.
I don't count out the Italians. Don't count out Jimmy Spithill's team. They may not win this weekend.
I didn't.
I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying generally to the gang.
Yeah.
But I do think by the end of the year, they're going to come on and be pretty strong. Clark Chapin says a year ago, the only 2 candidates would have been Australia and New Zealand with a few votes for GBR, a much wider spectrum this year. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of the vertically liveried boats.
Yeah.
Jeff Kitsen's interesting point. With the new T-foils, it could be almost anybody's season. Too early to speculate. Yeah, but it's fun to speculate, Jeff. That's why we do it. That ends our poll for this upcoming Sail GP season, which starts tomorrow. Here's a little final video. Really about Rolex. Art Collins says Germany will be last. I hope Hannah gets on the wheel at some point. Pedro, Foiling Sailor, is back. He was in studio, as you all know, last week. Was it last week, Julia? Yeah. He's back in Oz, and he's got an interesting new project that we're not at liberty to talk about yet.
Oh.
But he's got a great new project.
Good.
Our T-foil standard issue, yes, they will be in Auckland, Fritz. Everyone will be sailing on the new titanium T-foils. Too early to speculate accurately. Yeah, that's probably true, but it's still fun to speculate. Okay, final slide for this segment. Dubai, Event 1. I don't know why they don't call it a regatta. Regatta 1 of Season 5, but it's an event. It's Event 1, Sail GP. It is live in Dubai tomorrow on YouTube and other platforms. And I don't think it's being geo-blocked here in the U.S. I think you can watch it on YouTube at 0200 Pacific, 0500 Eastern, which is 10 in the morning UTC. And it's 12 hours ahead of us. It's 1400 in Dubai, in DXB. One hears Alan Long is saying. So those are the times. No, we are not Stingray. I'm not going to get up at, I'd have to just stay up at 12:30 and start, prepare and go live at 0200 our time, and then be up for this is a 2-hour show. Be up from 2 to 4. I got Meg here. We got to take Meg and her husband Aaron out to dinner tonight, and then tomorrow night we're having a little bit of a she by her request.
Oh, good.
You know that.
Yes.
You know. You say, oh, good, like you didn't know about it. The Commodore is going to come down from the Commodore Suite. We're going to have a little sing-along session here at the Beach Street Yacht Club in honor of Meg, who is the Vice Commodore. Okay, enough of all that. I still think the Red Bull Italy could well be not only the best new team, but they could be the best team we shall see.
And Ed Worley says titanium T-foils, $.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Exactly. F1 Las Vegas at 10 o'clock Pacific. I guess that's on when? Saturday night? How is it? Is that right? Fog Machine? Lance Burke? Oh, come on, Tom. Hold a watch party. I will watch the replay later. Yeah, thanks a lot, Stingray. No watch parties this weekend. We'll think about it, and maybe when we have a more optimal time zone, we can think about that. I want to spend thank you, Alan Long. I want to spend some time with Meg and get up early and fix her her and Aaron, her husband, a big breakfast and carry on. So on. Beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat. Yeah, okay. We're not going to eat beans tonight. Okay, Bravo Zulu. We got a little segment here that I'm really proud of. I spent a fair bit of time this morning putting this together, and it's for a good cause. The Yacht Racing Image Award. It's been going on for years. I think this is the 14th? Something like that. Mm-hmm. And it's a cool thing. They have photographers send in their favorite image, and lots of photographers do participate. And here is the winning image this year, 2024, just awarded, just announced in Amsterdam at the METS, the Marine Equipment Trade Show. I think that's what METS stands for. Mm-hmm. I haven't been to that show in years, but it's in Amsterdam, in that huge convention center, and they get a lot of people. As I said, Claire Harrington was just there. She's just landed, just back. And it's the Yacht Racing Forum, which has moved around the world, various places, is now being held concurrently there as well. I believe Claire spoke at that. Mm-hmm. Is that a photo of a U.S. sailing staff meeting? Rick Bannerow, maybe the comment of the day, along with Graham Sweeney. By the way, did you see you made Graham Sweeney's day? He said after you gave him his finger wag for that comment.
Oh, good.
About Marilyn Monroe. Those of you who don't know, Marilyn Monroe, by all accounts, had an affair for some period of time with the late, great JFK, John F. Kennedy, the president. I don't know.
Happy birthday, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
remember that?
Yes.
Happy birthday, Mr. And it was in Chicago, if I remember well. Mr. President, and everybody, God, they seem awfully friendly.
I know.
Little.
It was lovely.
Little did they know. We can say those things 61 years after his death, can't we?
Yeah, he would have liked it.
Okay, let's get back here to the main bit of this segment. Yeah, that is last year's Sail GP team capsizing. And they said it was in the Bahamas, but I don't think they did any training in the Bahamas. I think it was in Bermuda. I think the caption is wrong. But the photographer, the winning photographer for the second year in a row, Samo Vidic, I think it's pronounced more or less in the Slavic language, from Slovenia, not Slovakia.
That's an incredible picture.
It is an incredible picture, isn't it? He just happened to be in the right place at the right time. I believe it was in Bermuda. And the Slovenian yacht racing photographer Samo Vidic has claimed victory in the 14th edition of the international photo competition devoted to the sport of sailing. I don't know Fog Machine about that. Winning, this is his quote, winning for the second time in a row is definitely a surprise for me. How does this happen? When you see all the other pictures and all the other, how that could happen twice in a row is, I don't know, a bit of an eye-raising surprise for me, but who knows? I knew the photo I submitted was strong, but with other high-profile events this year, like the America's Cup, the Olympic Games, and more, my hopes weren't especially high. I feel truly honored and proud. This victory is a reaffirmation to myself that I'm doing something good and right. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
Yeah.
Okay, Clark Chapin. Tom, that affair was an open secret. JFK was a renowned philanderer, and the media protected him. Well, boy, we're jumping around here on different topics, Julia. So,
yes,
this is from the Yacht Racing Image Awards website, and they called him Same. This is not my graphics department. This is their graph. Samo is the right, and Vidic's photo was taken in the Bahamas. I don't think so. I think it was taken in Bermuda but I could be wrong. During the Sail GB practice session, I was lucky to have my friend Jason with me, yada, yada, okay. And they shouted, Team USA is going to capsize, and indeed they did, and they got the shot. So bravo Zulu to him regardless. And the US Sail GP team, you know who Bing Bong is, remember that?
Yes.
William Sangmeister, who, by the way, one hears, is about to become an Eagle Scout.
Yes. Well, didn't he just do
Not quite yet. I don't believe so, but I think maybe he has. But
there was a picture of a ceremony recently.
Well, I think it was another in that troop. Bravo Zulu to John Emmett as well, our Fozy, who has been a scout leader to get all three of his kids. Alan Long, I'm not going to touch that one with a 10-foot pole, even if I had one. You see Alan Long's comment? Down there at the bottom, just above.
Yes.
USA is going to capsize. Excellent prediction. So there it is. There's the winning photo by Samo Vidic. And I looked at all the other photos, and this was my second to favorite. It was my runner-up. And it wasn't the runner. I don't even know if they produce a runner-up. Rick Banner, who knows about these things, says the people running the Mirabad photo competition are very, very croutonic. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're taking money. I don't know how this happens that the same guy with all these submissions, and man, there are some fabulous submissions, how the same guy could win 2 years in a row, but he did. So bravo Zulu to him. It was a cool picture. I think this one, you see how the lighting, the shadows on the bridge abutments look like mainsails.
Yes.
I think this is absolutely somebody has a great eye. I mean, the photographer whose name is Peter Broger from Denmark. And this guy is a sailor par excellence who loves our sport, and he decided that he was going to do something in the sport full time, and apparently he had a photography hobby, and he took it up, and he's now a full-time professional photographer, this guy. And look at this photo.
Yes.
I mean, is that cool or what?
Yes.
He says this photo was taken during the Vegvasir, Gordon Smith have to help me with that, Vegvasir race, which, the spelling is not mine, is a demanding double and single-handed adventure sail race in Danish and Swedish waters. The competitors start under the Storebælt Great Belt Bridge. Smaller boat like this one, it was J80, can pass under the Lower West Bridge. The picture was taken while the German J80 passes the Lower West Bridge at an angle only few people see.
I'm sure that's true.
How cool is that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just, Stingray saying, Gordon Smith will love this. You think it's the Svendborg Bridge, he's thinking. Well, that's the comments that came with it, that it was the Storebælt Bridge, but whatever. It's a cool photo.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Now, how about, this is my favorite photo, and not just because I love the photographer. That is at New York Yacht Club. That's the TP52 regatta from which Claire Harrington, Vice Commodore Harrington, was reporting when she was doing, she was the PRO for this event. I believe this is the same TP52 regatta. So you know who did that photo?
Who?
There it is. The answer is on the screen. Our Fozy Daniel Forster. We were talking about him the other day with Sharon Green. And he's everybody's favorite, just a warm-hearted, great human being. Daniel took this photo during the TP52. I think that's the Thai boat, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I've always had this Daniel saying on the photo website with that photo, I've always had great access as official photographer of the New York Yacht Club's annual regatta and feel very lucky. The Round Connecticut race, so this must have been during the regatta, not during the TP52 Worlds, which was a couple weeks later. The Round the Connecticut Island race is a classic regatta and abounds with opportunities to use the backgrounds or extreme close-ups. My spinnaker takedowns are well known since this is my favorite angle for the last 53 years of my sailing career.
Wow.
On special occasions, I like to enhance the effect by switching back to black and white photography. Rick Bannerow is saying that this photo somehow reminds him of Marilyn Monroe. We're never going to live down the Marilyn Monroe thread, Julia, on this.
Not today.
On this show.
Yes.
Okay, well, Gordon, you can.
It looks like there's a body in that sail.
Let's go back. I'm going to back it up so we can see it up there by itself. It's a fabulous shot. Daniel, I wonder how many clicks of the shutter that took to get that one. I mean, with motorized drives these days. Yeah, Ed Worley's reminding us again about the dress. Remember when Marilyn Monroe walked over the grill in, New York or somewhere, and, that was all staged, of course, and her dress blew up when they took the picture. Well, it just showed a little thigh. It wasn't even her panties or more.
I know.
Marilyn in the bed sheets. Oh, my gosh, you guys. You all have dirty minds. Stacking is an art. Great photo. Danielle Forster, a great photographer and a dear friend and a Fozy. Bravo Zulu to him, to the New York Yacht Club, the TP52 class, and to the Yacht Racing Image Awards. Tell me, Rick Bannerow, if I'm wrong, but it looks like that sponsor, Mirabaud, is gone because I don't see them in this slide anywhere. And that's the graphic that they were using, the world's premier photography competition. Open to professional sailing photographers from all over the world, talking fast, at the Mets trade show, which wraps today.
Aha.
And if you want to see all the other sides, if Clark or somebody wants to put that into the comments, there is the URL for all of the images. Go be the judge yourself, which of the many images you think is your favorite or favorites. Okay. Mirabaud was one of the judges. It was a sponsor. It was a company in, tell me where, Switzerland, wasn't it, Rick Bannerow? Somebody will know. Okay, enough of all that. I always say that when I'm getting tired of a segment, Julia.
Yes.
Huh? Mm-hmm. That gets us to the final leg. What are we? We're an hour and 34 minutes into this show, so it's time to wrap this one up. I can go out and have a tea with Meg.
Yes.
And her husband, Aaron. In 1982, this famous painting by Thomas Hoyne, which gets us to the last leg. And a nice, I can't help myself, Julia. I can't help myself. There is another video out today by Rolex of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. I promise you, it's the wrap-up video. It's the last one I'm going to play on the show until next year. Well, we'll use Rolex videos, and no doubt coming from Sail GP, and no doubt also coming from the Rolex Sydney to Hobart yacht race later in the year, for which we will do a watch party. This from the Rolex Middle Sea Race, the final wrap-up video, only 2 minutes long.
Well, welcome to the start of the 45th edition of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. And for those of you that think this is a race without much wind, you're going to be very mistaken today.
There's a lot of competition in this race today.
Wow. I mean, and this is going to be a tough race. Looking forward to seeing a fighter squadron go around this course.
We're really looking forward to see some crazy action this year, actually. 112 boats. It's a great fleet spread across from the top at 100 foot right down to 30 feet. You can really see, look how fast they're going out there.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty wild out there, and it'll be very wet on X Day, I can tell you that. Yeah. There's a lot of adrenaline pumping there. They're all standing up, ready to roll.
Fired up.
The sun's coming out, it's energising. The breeze is coming through, and we're seeing a lot of big gusts of wind.
But actually, they've got a lot of work to do. It's not just a speed game, this race.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I agree, Hawkinson. This is a nifty video. That was a nifty video. Wet and wild indeed. Thanks to Rolex, thanks to the Royal Malta Yacht Club. And again, once again, bravo Zulu to them. Okay, well, that gets us to the D block. And Julia,
yes,
you're going to like all of these.
All right.
They're all clean, sort of.
Oh, sort of.
They're all sort of clean, Julia.
Oh, good.
Here's the first one. You'll like this one.
Yes.
And this from Ryman. This is the cleanest one he sent in a coon's age, as we say here.
I know.
As we say in Michigan. Movie stars leaving the country this way. Only one's gone. Ellen DeGeneres, the only one we know that's, but she and her wife had bought a place in the Cotswold in the UK anyway. So you all in the UK can have her. You can have her. They sold their place down near you in Montecito.
Did they?
Yeah. Down there where you grew up in Carpinteria.
Right.
Movie stars leaving the country this way. Meanwhile, the market's going north. Bitcoin, did Bitcoin end over 100 grand a day? How many Bitcoins do you have, Julia?
None.
None?
None.
You think it's dust. You don't believe it.
I have a hard time.
Gordon Smith, can I just point out, Tom never posts my card. That's not true. I posted several of yours. But Gordon, yours are so intellectual and so, what's the word I want, Julie? They're so obscure, some of them. That's not the right word.
Well, yeah.
And he sent me a couple that are really pretty amazing. And they're funny, but it took me, I have to sit here and think about it. And if I have to sit here and think about it, it's got to be sight gags, Gordon. Yours are too intellectual. Yours are there's the word I wanted, huh?
Yep.
Like Julia, you're too intellectual for this show, Gordon. Graham Sweeney doesn't want her either. Now, can you tell that this next image, thanks Ted Ryman for that one, can you tell that this image was generated by AI? You see those things, it's a little hard to see. They've circled like a thermostat on the wall, and there's something wrong with her. And this I got off of Reddit. I'm a big Reddit fan. I find something with boobies in it, Gordon Smith is saying. Can you tell, though, it's apparently that face is somebody, I don't know who it is. Can you tell it's generated by AI or not?
No.
You can't. Take a look.
Yeah.
Get up close to your monitor, Julia. Go take a look. Go
There's
lean
a
in.
Reddit.
Go take a look. It's a Reddit. Jeff Gitson's got it.
Oh. Oh, yes.
Yes, it was generated by AI. Yeah, the hands, those hands, they're all getting it now. When I saw that laying in bed this morning about 5 a.m. I'm going through the news and still texting with Richard Gladwell, and I said, look at this photo. It's hilarious. Love the pedicure. If you did a cap, nice toes. Yes, the hands. She's got her best foot forward. Oh, AI. My wife was generated by AI, Ryan says. Okay. Okay. This one I think we've used before, but it's such a good one. I thought since this is the drinking show, we haven't talked about alcohol at all today, the drinking show of the Sailing Habit. Soup of the day. Some pubs are saying it's whiskey with H2O croutons. H2O crouton. That came courtesy of Susan Kenny, who is our esteemed PR lady at Balboa Yacht Club for the Governor's Cup. She's been doing it for years. She works so hard doing the website, getting the press releases done and out, and the distro she does. And it's people like Susan Kenny who make regattas, like all of you on here who are such big spark plugs for our sport, contributors to our sport. Oh, you guys, Graham Sweeney and Ted Ryman are going at it now. I'm not even going to put that comment up. Susan Kenny, Balboa Yacht Club, thank you for all you do for our sport, and thank you for sending us that cartoon, which gets us to the finish line, Julia. And at this point, you like to say...
Yes. Don't miss the opportunity to like, follow, and share.
You can do the next one, too. They're at the bottom.
Comments are welcome, even in replay.
Indeed, they are, and we appreciate all of your comments. We appreciate all of you who support us via Patreon. Become a patron if you're not already. Patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. We really appreciate the support. Keeps our studio from looking like this instead of, Julia, looking like that.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We don't want to look like that, do we?
No.
We want our patrons to help us. Fun show today. Thank you, Joe Holtzman. Thanks, Fritz Mueller. And everybody else, Mark Holland, you are the ones that make the show. You, the Fozy, you, everybody who also gives us video, audio, and images for today's show. There's a long list. Final thoughts, Julia?
No, just there's always ammunition to keep going.
And the winner of the day? Marilyn Monroe? Was that the comment of the day? That'll be the next drinking word. How are we going to work Marilyn Monroe into it? Okay, thanks, everybody. Thanks to those who, as I said, give us media for these shows. It's extensive. We appreciate it. Hope to see you all on Tuesday. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Enjoy Sail GP. Sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you Tuesday. Ciao for now.